what it has been like in the last 36 years with Madison.
When I decided one fine day rather abruptly, why should India's largest agency be a foreign agency? That thought entered my head is not because I had a dying urge to be an entrepreneur or to break out on my own or be my own boss.
Godrej, P&G, and so many blue chip clients, Coca-Cola, you name it, and even like the BJP campaign.
To derive joy and happiness from doing a job well. Because I genuinely felt that if you did that, then profits will take care of themselves.
Welcome to the India PR show. And today I have Sam Balsara on the show. I don't know too many people who've had such a glorious career of 50 plus years in advertising and marketing. Madison, India's largest homegrown agency with 26 units, 1,300 employees, and growing strength to strength. Today, Sam speaks to us about his journey in Madison, his successes, his failures, his advice to the next generation, and what the future holds for Madison. I'm extremely excited to have this conversation with him today. Please do tune in and let us know what you think. Sam, welcome to the India PR show. It really means a lot, and I can't probably describe those in words of what it feels to have you on the show.
My pleasure, Nidhi. I couldn't say no to you.
I know. I was when I saw your mail and you agreed, I was like, this is the highlight big moment on the India PR show to have you. So Sam, to start the conversation, I wanna talk about Madison. More than 36 years, 3 months as we speak today. And it is India's largest homegrown agency in the times when there is so much of international buyout happening and so much of international takeovers happening. Madison stands really strong in that scenario. So what it has been like in the last 36 years with Madison? What are the big moments?
So obviously there have been several ups and downs and what you say big moments on the positive side and negative side. I would say the obvious big moment was, I think, when I decided one fine day rather abruptly, when I was at Mudra, to why not start an agency. And the reason that thought entered my head is not because I had a dying urge to be an entrepreneur or to break out on my own or be my own boss or make some more money than what I was earning then. None of all of that. But at that time, Mudra had begun to do rather well, and Mudra developed the ambition of wanting to become India's largest agency. They reasoned, why should India's largest agency be a foreign agency? And I didn't fancy myself to be heading India's largest agency. Or I would say I did not even have the confidence that I would be able to help take Mudra to become India's largest agency.
How old were you, Sam, back then?
1988, so I was 37. And that time I thought a little idealistically, based on whatever the circumstances were at that time and what was going on in my mind, that a good agency is a small agency with a few large clients. That I thought was the ultimate ideal agency in my mind from a client perspective. So that is how Madison started. I must tell you, I remained true to my philosophy for quite a number of years. Godrej was my first client. I think, oh, I had two first clients, Godrej and then Nelco. And for the first 5 years of Madison, I did not take on a third client
By choice.
by choice, not
Wow.
because we didn't get clients, but I said I didn't want to take the risk of, you know, taking on more than what I can chew. And I did not want to betray the trust of my two founding clients and do a disservice to them by spreading myself so thin. That is how kind of those were early years of Madison. I think the next big moment came when Godrej did a tie-up with Procter and Gamble, the world's largest advertiser, who we then believed almost had a technology for the creation and, you know, dissemination of advertising. There was a lot of trepidation, I think, within me and possibly a few others in Madison, that we were going to lose Godrej because in the arrangement, you know, Godrej was to do all the manufacturing, and Procter and Gamble was to do all the marketing. But surprise of surprise, within I think a year of us dealing with Procter and Gamble for advertising for Synthol and a few other brands of Godrej that we used to handle. One fine day, Procter and Gamble, their CEO, an Englishman called David Thomas, tells me, "How do you like the idea of handling our Wix and Whisper?" I said, "Sounds great."
Yeah.
So actually, that trepidation was a little misplaced. In fact, it turned out to be a terrific opportunity for us to handle two global brands. I think the third major moment was not a very happy moment because I think I decided to terminate a relationship with a New York based agency called DMB&B, who had the international accounts of Wix and Whisper, with whom I had done a tie up in order to handle these two brands here.
Okay. Okay.
I mean, we were obviously the size of a speck of dust compared to this global agency. And I didn't quite sort of like the way we were being treated. So
So, how do you think this was a parting away?
this was a parting of ways with DMB&B, by virtue of which I lost the Wix and Whisper accounts. And soon after, I then lost the Synthol account. And soon after, I lost quite a few accounts. All of this resulting in a 70% loss of revenue at Madison. So, whilst most agencies kind of have a difficult start, you know, I would say Madison's start was rather, you know, smooth sailing. But the crisis came possibly 7 years, I think, of Madison. But I think After one day of brooding, I think we decided to move on and take the bull by the horn and face the world. By that time, or little before this incident, Procter and Gamble had decided in their mind that Madison is very good with media. So they did, for the first time in India, called a pitch for a media AOR. And surprise of surprise, Madison won that business.
Wow.
So thereby started the media alone business in India. Soon thereafter, Unilever decided to put all their media together. And, the media departments of JWT and Ogilvy came together to form a media agency, which subsequently was named Group M.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we had some, I would say, early successes as a media agency, which in turn, made me convinced about the concept of specialization in our business. So I thought to myself, unlike most others who, I don't know, for right or wrong reasons, thought that it's better to keep everything together because of the circumstances I was in, I thought specialization is good because, people, because of repetitive work in the same area, develop a certain skill set.
Right.
They develop a certain knowledge base. They and you're able to offer a service at a competitive price to the client. So I then extended the same thinking to several other disciplines of communication.
Right. Right.
So, as you know, we then went on into several areas, all related only to communication.
Right. Right.
I must say, along the way came many attractive financial proposals,
Yeah. Yeah.
including getting into real estate, starting a school,
Oh. Oh, I didn't know that.
both of which were extremely profitable ventures. But I somehow thought, let's be focused only
One.
on advertising. It wouldn't serve my cause well if I kind of just focused
Or
on
diluted.
ROI and, how to make more money. Advertising is what I like. It gives me a certain amount of joy, although a certain amount of pain too. But
Yes.
let's stick with it.
So a lot of.
So that's how a lot of other units started, including Madison PR. I must also say a lot of these units started not because of some Madison's grand plan,
Okay.
but because our clients wanted us to start those units. For example,
Right.
one fine day, I got a call from Procter and Gamble's CEO saying, "Can I meet you at short notice?" So we met the next day morning, and he said that, "Look, we have a problem in our Goa factory because of this, that. So what do you advise we do?" So I said, in my naivety, I think we should appoint a good PR agency to help us with this problem. So David said, look, the best PR agency in town is sitting in front of me.
Wow. Okay.
I said, look, but we don't have a PR agency.
The PR skill, yeah.
So
Huh.
he said, you are the PR agency. So that is how Madison PR started, for example.
So this was when, so this conversation with David was the reason why you started a PR division.
Absolutely, absolutely. The next big moment would be when we got down to acquiring a 51% stake in Mediacom, which was a global agency.
I remember that, the
And,
buzz around that. Yeah.
we took the world by surprise. So I won't bore you with the details of how that came about, but it did come about.
So you say that that was one of your milestone
I
moments.
think so, because I don't think there are too many instances
Yeah.
where WPP has kind of given its agency. It is WPP who's always the acquirer.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that was, I think, a good high point. I guess
Yeah.
that's enough for
That's,
one
yeah,
lifetime.
that's, yes. Absolutely. So, Sam, while you mentioned Godrej, PNG, and so many blue chip clients, Coca-Cola, you name it, and even like the BJP campaign. So I remember these really big moments and big brands that work with you. So what is it? What do you think is the secret recipe, or how does Madison retain and win these clients among a very competitive multi-agency global pitches that come in our way? I know one is the secret sauce is Sam, but apart from bringing your own equation with the clients. Yeah.
I think I'm fortunate. I don't think the secret sauce is Sam,
Yeah.
but probably others like you think so. But on a more serious note, maybe I could say that most other agencies thought themselves, and rightly so perhaps, as a business. I did not think of Madison as a business. I thought of it as, a bunch of professionals, including me, having come together to serve a client and to derive joy and happiness from doing a job well. Because I genuinely felt that if you did that, then profits will take care of themselves.
Yeah.
But if you chase profit for the sake of profit, I think you'll never get it. So for a long time, I used to say that our new business strategy is we don't have a strategy. We don't have a list of clients that we want to go for, that we would like to win. We don't have a new business executive or a new business director. None of all of that.
Yeah.
I also felt that Madison will grow if our clients grow.
Yeah.
So our focus should not be on making Madison grow. Our focus should be on helping our clients grow. Because if our clients grow, then we will grow. And I think for most of the 36 years, it has been like that.
Right.
And
Yeah.
then through word of mouth and all that, the news kind of spread.
So I think, clients always felt that Madison as an agency is putting the client first over their own goals or their own.
I'm glad you say that.
No, but I think, obviously, and I'm probably one person who can say that, having been in Madison for 10 years, and I know that you've always built a culture of client first throughout Madison. So I think I know why. And this is for all the agency people who, would tune in to listen to the podcast. So Sam, I wanted to talk to you a lot about PR. Obviously, this is the India PR show, and PR is a very strong, business and, a division to Madison. So can you talk about where Madison PR is in the scheme of things, and how do you see that growing in the company?
Whilst PR in terms of revenue, is a small portion of our overall pie, I do think that PR, good PR, is and should be a very, very important and critical element of the marketing mix.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've also felt that a brand that spends millions of rupees on advertising, on the creation of advertising, and on media, if he does not use the potent tool of PR, he is letting go of a very important
Opportunity.
and cost effective
Yeah.
tool that is available to him. And therefore, if you see Madison PR and now Brandcom PR also, we are focused a lot on brand PR,
Right.
a lot on brand PR. Because somewhere, I think Madison's reason to be is to build a brand
Yeah.
and to nurture it and to grow it and to grow a share and all of that. So that is where I think PR comes in. And I always tell my clients that if they're not using PR, they're making a mistake and they should. They need not use Madison PR or Brandcom PR. But I think it's important to have a PR agency
Yeah.
on board. And more so in today's time, with so much of social media and when there is two-way communication. In the earlier days, it was only the advertiser talking to the masses, and very seldom that the masses hit back.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whereas today,
It's
there's
changed.
so much of hitting back. By the day you see it, I mean, not a month goes before a brand faces a crisis. We are seeing more and more of it in today's India. So I think you need a good PR agency to advise you if, God forbid, you get into that unfortunate situation. But you also need a good PR agency to augment all your other efforts in advertising and media. So that is where I feel that PR is
It's
very important for most companies and brands.
right. Right. So Sam, talking about the future of Madison PR, and how do you see, because PR is constantly changing, as you said, the two-way communication, talking about the social influencer marketing, PR is constantly taking a larger pie in terms of, one is traditional PR, digital PR, influencer marketing, collaborations. There is so much. And you spoke about Madison PR is kind of creating a niche by focusing on brand PR, right? So how do you see that as a future for Madison PR and just the Madison PR business?
Well, I obviously think the future is very bright. And I think I see the future as bright, especially in India, because, you know, I think India is a under advertised and under marketed economy still. Advertising as a percent of India's GDP is still only some 0.35%. The global average is 1% or thereabout. So, not only is India's economy growing at 7%, which means even if our percent to GDP doesn't grow up, advertising will grow. And I have seen that advertising generally grows in a when the economy is growing at twice the rate of GDP growth. But here in our case, even this percent of 0.35 is likely to inch up. So it's a double whammy. So also, I think the number of advertisers that we have in India are so few. And India is, after all, an entrepreneurial
Yeah,
country.
true.
And as more and more second and third generation business entrepreneurs come in,
Yeah.
I see more of them wanting to professionalize. I see more of them wanting to make it big. There are so many strong local and regional brands. As the new generation comes in, they inspired by the Lever and PNG and Godrej and Marico and all, they want to take their local and regional brands also all India, professionalize the organization, hire professional CEOs, hire brand managers, and set themselves up for success and IPO and whatnot.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I do think that the future marketing communications in India is very, very bright.
Um, Sam, you recently, I think just a few months ago, you spoke about how India has been largely looking at a Western marketing playbook, right? But you spoke about how that playbook is not going to be relevant to India, and India has to make its own. Marketing playbook, keeping the diversity, keeping the whole regional conversation that we spoke about. So how do you see that, from marketing industry as a whole and specifically to PR also?
So I think that is the truth because, the truth is that, fundamentally, when you are in advertising or marketing, you have to know your consumer. You have to know his attitudes, his beliefs, his habits, his, likes, dislikes, and whatnot. And from that point of view, India is not one country. If you take most other countries, you know, they are one market.
Yeah.
That means most people will eat similarly, will talk similarly, will have similar attitudes to spending money, will have similar dress habits, but not India. You know, as one of my colleagues recently shared with me a map of India which showed, the Indian sari changing every few hundred
Yeah,
kilometers.
yeah. Every 500 kilometers, you see the food
There's
changes, the dress, are yeah,
everything
everything
changes.
changes. Yeah,
So, as a marketer, all this is critically important. Whereas if we are going to adopt a playbook from the West, they're all addressing one more or less homogeneous audience.
yeah, yeah.
We are addressing so many diverse audiences. Probably in that context, I said
Yeah, yeah.
that there is a need to create an India playbook, not just.
Just follow
I
whatever the.
also know for sure that most global companies, when they come to India first, they come with a global playbook and they want to, roll out exactly as per that global playbook. And most of them have had to painfully realize that that was a mistake. Most global companies. So I think, whilst every country may like to believe they're different, I think India is different in that way. And whilst, a 1.4 billion population may look very attractive sitting in New York or Japan, it is, I would say, a tough market to crack. And you need professionals who have operated in this market. I strongly believe that, for advertising, you need a combination of expertise and experience and knowledge of past case studies and what has happened and what works when. All that is equally important
Right,
as the science of advertising and media.
right. Sam, there was a time when you've said that when the whole digital wave happened, there was a little bit of a hiccup before we kind of got onto that. But I know for a fact that AI in today's time is really, really important within Madison, and I know that you've got a lot of the talent pool at Madison trained and upskilled to AI. So how does this technology, this adoption of this technology, how is Madison looking at that?
So I must confess that in the early days of digital, I made an error of judgment. I wanted our large number of TV planners to also plan for digital.
Right,
And I persisted with that belief a little too long, despite initial failure.
right.
And therefore, I think we lost a few years. It's only subsequently when we spun off digital as a separate unit
Is
that
yeah,
our digital began to take off. So I had to kind of painfully realize that the, what should I say, whilst the fundamentals of media may be similar, the technique and tactics and operating norms are so different that you need to have a separate pool of digital experts to offer clients expert advice. And digital is so fast moving and with so many new gizmos coming and going, you need a separate set of people who kind of keep track of these, who can, you know, discern with what would work for our clients, what is good for our clients, and what is otherwise just gloss and chaff. having said that, I think AI, of course, does look fascinating. AI, as I see it, is a label. It's a tool or a technique that kind of helps do a lot of stuff
In a short span of
that
time.
that you need not waste very precious human brain time on it, and reserve brain time for what technology cannot do. So with that realization, we are going forward with a focus on automation, AI, and all that, so that our people can focus a little more on thinking and strategic work, which till today AI may not be able to do. Maybe tomorrow it can do that.
But do you see AI replacing jobs in marketing?
No, I don't think so, especially not in India, because I think in India the potential is huge. I think AI is going to help all of us, what should I say, do a better and higher quality of jobs and enjoy doing that, because AI will help take away anything that is routine, mundane, easily predictable,
Yeah.
and all of that can be done by machines, so that you are left to do the critical strategic thinking work. Yeah. Or it could provide you all the data in a very distilled format to enable you to take that final decision on which way to move.
What are the qualities needed today to have a great or a long career in media, marketing, and communications today? What are the skill sets do you think a person should have?
So, in my view, I think you need a person who is both left brained and right brained in equal measure.
Okay.
So, you have to be in many situations linear, logical, be able to read data, and at the same time, whatever your job, you have to be creative, and you have to find a creative way, not necessarily with words or with pictures, but with ideas, and bring to bear your past experience on the current solution that is required. So I think that's how I would try to evaluate an entry level person and his ability to reach the top. I also think that if you're going to be joining an agency, then a very critical requirement is every morning when you come to work, you have to leave your ego behind at home.
Right. I totally agree.
Otherwise,
Yeah.
you lead a very stressful life.
That's actually very, very true. I think, yeah, that's golden because agency folks have their ego busted every day. And if you are so stuck up with that,
Correct.
and this is
So
also to do with the new workforce.
I think when I left Cadbury to join contract, I think I succeeded in the transition because I don't know if I should say this, I think I'm reasonably egoless.
Sam, this question actually, my next question is actually very relevant to what's happening in the industry. There is so much of Sam at Madison. At every, you can see this. This is such a your attitude that you bring to the table. It's so much of Sam that the whole company has imbibed in the culture. But does a time when you decide to take a step back, does that bother you? Does that worry you?
I think if I have to start worrying, I could get submerged in it. So, A, I can't say that things don't affect me, but I try to get out of it soon. I also think, certain images kind of tend to stay in your mind or in the industry's mind. Madison today has 23 CXOs. 23. So, one of the things we have done in my stupidity with a view to increasing client delight is to have many smaller structures, each handling a smaller set of clients, so that more senior level talent is available to advise the client. Because I think that is what the advertiser is paying you for. So, whilst I cannot do much to change your perception or the industry's perception, I think the reality is that, we have 1,300 people, we have 23 CXOs, we have 500 clients. So it's a very, still I would say, a medium-sized agency with reasonably well-defined structures, and we are constantly evolving. We're now focusing a lot on technology, on automation, on learning and development, on training. So every 2 3 years we keep adopting different themes. More recently, I think, to reflect all the changes that we have been through, especially in digital. Digital is now 40% of our revenue. Uh, if you look at Indian ADEX also, digital is
Yeah.
40%. So I would say we are on par at least with Indian ADEX. To reflect all these changes, we decided to, upgrade or enliven our logo. And
Okay.
we've launched a new look. I
Oh,
don't know
I
if you
have.
have seen it.
I haven't. I'm going to definitely put that up on the
I'll give
screen
you
also.
my new card.
Yeah, nice. Yeah. So the future looks as, you've built a culture and an organization that's going to continue growing with the leadership that you have. And I know that you've hired a lot of, senior talent in the company of late. So that's going to kind of continue the growth path of the company.
Correct. And then, of course, there's always my Lara, the executive director, who has also now a very strong grip on agency issues and opportunities and
Right.
new ventures and things like that, because the world is changing so rapidly and there are so many new opportunities that are coming, and we are fortunately, I would say, in a reasonably good place where these opportunities keep coming
Right.
to us, because they are no they because people know that fast decision makers. It's
Yeah.
either a yes or a no, no lengthy discussions or
Right.
stuff like that. So, and we do take advantage of such opportunities that come our way.
Right, right. Sam, do you have any regrets? And, having spoken to you, there's one thing which I've noticed and I want to really compliment you is that you talk about your failures, you talk about some decisions that worked or didn't work. So, you accept everything with a smile on your face. And I really, really love that. But is there any one thing if you had to redo or like rewrite? What is that one thing that Sam would want to
You
rewrite
know
in?
what is my biggest regret, Nidhi? My biggest regret is that I couldn't hold on to Nidhi and Nidhi left me. So that is my big regret.
Sam.
Everything else is a minor regret.
Okay, but Sam, apart from Nidhi, who was a part of Madison PR South team, but in the overall thing, is there any one thing that you feel that you
Well,
know?
I think I mentioned this to you. I think, you know, insisting on getting my traditional people to adopt and take up digital was, I think, a major error of judgment. I think we lost a couple of precious years in that. That certainly was a very big boo boo, I would say.
I thought you were going to talk about the fact, and I think I have to speak to your wife about it, that you go for holidays and you cannot disconnect. And I know you've spoken about this, that you are a person who just does not know how to take breaks. And with
No,
that,
I think I do take breaks, but I like to keep the breaks short. I don't like to go on an extended break because I think a relaxation is also an overplayed concept. I mean, man can't live by relaxation alone.
but in today's such a highly stimulated work time that we have, earlier times were simple, and there is, and that's kind of just leading to my next question. The newer workforce of today is feeling burnouts, is feeling, and media and advertising is such a high stressful job. And so in that scenario, having taking people, this, it's been spoken about that people are talking about work life balance, talking about taking more breaks. What is your thoughts on that for the workforce and media industry, to be specific?
I personally feel that our youth and all those people who are focusing on work life balance are making a huge mistake and they're letting opportunity go past them. I think this is the time when India is on the threshold of a big break. There are huge opportunities coming our way. And according to me, work life balance is also a state of the mind. It doesn't take too long for you to relax. I mean, you're relaxing every night, right? When you sleep, that's relaxation. So you don't have to
Right.
necessarily go away for a month or two. For a young person to think like that is certainly bad news for our country.
Right, right, right. No, Sam, I like the fact that you've said this, is because I feel there are some people who are definitely on the verge of, mental health challenges. I'm not talking about those, but I think a lot of the other people are just kind of using that to cover up for
Yeah,
not being focused on their work.
right.
So there is a bit of that for sure. Now, Sam, I want to talk to you a bit about, and this is something that I don't know about, is what does a typical day with Sam looks like? How does so talk to us about since the time you wake
So
up to
it has changed over the years, and I don't know if you know this, but there was one significant event in my life, I think about now 12 years ago, which was I went through a bypass surgery
yeah,
that kind of really, really knocked me out. I was in the hospital ICU for 19 days or something like that.
I remember
And
that. I
then I
was
could not walk for almost 30 days after that. My body had forgotten how to walk. So since then, I take exercise a little more seriously than I used to all my life. So now I do yoga every morning,
what? This is so nice. I didn't know
and
this about you.
every late evening when I'm in town, I go for a walk. And ever since I've become a grandfather, I try to come home by 6:30 because now my office, which earlier used to be at Horniman
Yeah,
Circle,
yeah,
which
yeah.
was far away from my home, is now in Andheri, which is about
Yeah,
15
yeah.
minutes away. Because 6:30 to 7:30 is my time with my grandchildren. So that is very focused time I enjoy with them. Then I go for a walk, then dinner, then a little bit of television news. Then I sit on my laptop again
In the night.
in the night to finish off all my day's emails because
Do you start your day reading a newspaper too?
of course I can't do
You
without
can't do that.
reading the Economic Times
Time.
and the Times of India. I have to read
Right.
for right or wrong reasons. Then I start my work a little late.
Right.
I reach office by about 10:30 and don't start my first meeting till 11 because I go to sleep rather late. 2:30 is the earliest I can sleep, unfortunately.
Right, right. Sam, and I'm this is a question that I'm asking on behalf of all the entrepreneurs in the marketing, advertising, communications industry. What is your one advice to them to have a long, stable career or like growing their company for the long haul? So what is that one advice you would give entrepreneurs like me?
So I think you might call me old fashioned and not in tune with today's world, but my serious advice would be to be patient and keep persevering. All days are not the same. If there are problems coming your way, there are also opportunities coming your way. So it's always a mixture of good and bad. So stick to it and you will succeed. You need average intelligence, but you need perseverance.
Right, right. Thank you so much, Sam. I
Okay,
think
Nidhi, it was wonderful
wonderful.
talking to
Yes,
you.
Sam.